as we await a verdict in his trial for bank fraud and tax evasion. Let's turn to Bob Bianchi, a defense attorney and former prosecutor. So the jury sends a note. What do we do if on a single count we can't reach consensus? And initially the analysts were like, well, it sounds like they've reached a consensus one way or the other on the other 17. Now there's questions about what the number really is. So I guess deliberations continue.
Yeah, you know, Shep, we play this game all the time as trial lawyers trying to figure it out. But I'll tell you what, when they come back and they say, and the judge gives the charge and says to them, listen, you should try to come without doing violence to your judgment to some sort of agreement and respect minority opinions, and they do say it's about one count, that was a game changer. That is, they've gone through and done due diligence, meticulously going through a document dump that the judge threw in there, and they had to kind of piece it together, those documents to the charges, to the testimony. They went through it all, and it just seems like they're hung up on a charge. I would suspect, based on the evidence produced, that the tax case is solid for the prosecution, and those are going to be all guilty verdicts. There's definitely going to be guilty verdicts there. Maybe they get a hung jury and a mistrial on one or two charges, but I suspect that this jury is going to be coming back today or tomorrow.
The question now would be, how long do you get for this? And I guess the foreperson at some point will go, hey, we keep trying this, we can't get there, here's what we've got. Would they then present the verdicts as reached from the charging document, and then they would decide then whether they would go back and work on that last charge? In other words, we would know most everything relatively soon?
I think that the judge is going to give a little bit of time where they give what they call the Allen charge, Shep, where the judge eventually is going to say, listen, without doing violence to your judgment, can you, foreperson, come to a conclusion? Do you think further deliberations will be useful with respect to the counts that you cannot come to agreement on? And if the consensus is, when they come back out, that they can't, if it is in fact a number of counts where they did make a finding, as is guilty or not guilty, he'll take a partial verdict, and a mistrial will occur with respect to the charges they could not come to a conclusion on.
So this is really only partially the beginning for Paul Manafort. There's a whole other trial coming, and that one has a lot more to do with activities with the president. This one had nothing to do with it.
Right, sure. So, I mean, they got Manafort in a bind here. If he gets convicted of a lot of these things, here's the play, Shep. It'll be interesting if prosecutors come knocking or the defense comes knocking and says, hey, maybe, you know, we should talk before that other trial, because they will have him in the breach at that point in time if he gets convicted on any one of these offenses, really. And if a number of them, forget it, he's got all the reason in the world to cooperate.
And under sentencing guidelines, you get a conviction on 17, 18. It's north of 10 years. It's more than 10 years under sentencing guidelines.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the judge will have a huge amount of discretion here. This judge is a very interesting character. I mean, you know, he wasn't very friendly to the prosecution, actually challenged the prosecution's theory of the case in front of the jury, which was really detrimental, and I was really shocked. And as a prosecutor, I've had it happen, and it's a really ugly thing. So who knows what this judge, with his personality, would do when there's ultimately a lot of discretion with regard to sentencing. But he's up to the 10-year plus point if he gets convicted of at least even the tax case.
On just this trial.
Yeah.
Bob Bianchi, thank you.
You gotcha.